So what was the greatest robbery ever committed? Was it the Great Train Robbery of 1963, when a train from Glasgow to London was stopped and 53 million was stolen? Or perhaps it was the Antwerp diamond heist, where a group of Italian criminal masterminds spent 2 years casing a joint before escaping with 100 million. Perhaps it was the Hatton Garden 2015 robbery, where a group of criminals, about 60 to 70-year-old, spent a weekend drilling into the safety deposit boxes and escaping with 200 million. Well, the answer, my friend, is actually this. It's the $740 billion predicted to be spent in advertising in 2024. And this simple fact, that if attention isn't paid to that money, then every single pound, penny, cent, and dollar is gone, like that. So let's dig a little bit more into this hustle. If you went to McDonald's and ordered a burger and got this, would you be happy? Of course not. What about if you ordered a brand new car and this is what they gave you? It's bonkers. Yet we think it's okay in advertising to charge somebody when 50% of their pixels are in view. Anyone here had their eyes tested before? Anyone know what this is? It's called the Snellen test. It's 100% viewable. Everything's in view, but can anyone here read the bottom letters there?
I'm in the way.
Of course you can't. Yet we think it's okay in advertising to charge people for this. Anyone in this room watched Game of Thrones Season 3? There's a few nodding heads here. Anyone here see the Starbucks cup that was in it? Go and check it. I guarantee you that it was there. Here's a fact for all of you to take home with you. Nobody goes online to watch our advertising. So if you're not actively driving attention to your ads, then it's money that's being stolen. But listen, it's not all doom and gloom. Today, we're going to show you how to heist that money back. And what do you need for a good heist? Well, you need the absolute best crew in the business. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the best crew for you who are going to help you to understand how you can heist your advertising dollars back.
Hello, I'm Benazir Barlet-Batada. Hi, I'm the former Senior Marketing Director from Mondelez, and I worked on Cadbury from 2012 to 2022. You've got my notes. I need my quote. Sorry. Thank you. And I wanted to, before I start, I wanted to ask the audience, when you were kids, did you believe in the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus? Yeah, I thought so. A lot of nods there. And that's because, as humans, we love a good story. We love creativity. And it dates back to caveman times when we listened to stories around a fire. This is the quote I wanted to share that Alex was sat on, sorry. I stole a quote from a guy called Jonathan Gottschall, who explains, much better than I can, the more deeply we are cast under a story's spell, the more potent its influence. Fiction seems to be more effective at changing beliefs than non-fiction. Studies have shown that when we are absorbed by a story, we drop our intellectual guard, we are moved emotionally, and this seems to make us rubbery and easy to shape. And I love that quote because that explains why storytelling is just so powerful in capturing attention. So I used to work on Cadbury, and when we were there back in the day, about 2017, 2018, we were absolutely obsessed with the agency VCCP, who still have the account. We were obsessed about storytelling. And we were repositioning the Cadbury brand from joy to generosity, back to what the founder was all about. So John Cadbury and his family always had this spirit of generosity. If you looked at the Cadbury history, you would know that was real, that was authentic. You know, there were so many countless examples of his generosity, such as building homes for workers, such as giving education to the kids of workers, building a whole community, a factory in the countryside, not in the polluted town. He also believed and had a vision to do good and to do more than just what was enough. He also did that with his product. He didn't just put a glass of milk in it, but a glass and a half. So all this generosity was absolutely real to the brand. But the thing about it is, what we realized is that talking about your own generosity, wasn't very generous. So actually what we did was shine a light on generosity, or the generous instinct that exists in the society today and exists in all of us. And we wanted to make that center stage. And what we did, we started with a campaign I'm going to share with you. It started with a little girl that went into a corner shop and asked to buy a bar of chocolate for her mum.
Come on. Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
I'd like a bar of chocolate, please. It's for my mum.
Your change.
Happy birthday, Mum.
There's a glass and a half in everyone.
Did I capture your attention? I hope so. I hope so. And it's a really small act, intimate act of kindness, but with a big emotional impact. But what we knew is that we couldn't just do this alone. We couldn't just make a TV advert about human generosity. We had to walk the walk. We had to inspire acts of generosity in others. And we did this by starting with loneliness in the UK. 250,000 people, elderly people in the UK, went a week without speaking to anybody. And what we did was try to encourage people to actually pick up the phone, send a message, talk to an elderly person, whether that's your grandfather, your grandma, your neighbor, or somebody else, but just to get involved. And we started that by taking the words off our own packaging at the time to inspire and share, and we called this Donate Your Words. And what we did was create a donation for every bar sold to a charity, Age UK. But it wasn't just the packaging, it wasn't just TV advertising. We did this across digital, outdoor, radio, experiential, influencers, everything, you name it, all the different touch points. We even leveraged the Premier League sponsorship, and we had, rather than having children coming out as young mascots to welcome on as players, we actually replaced them at one time with elderly people who were suffering from loneliness, and then did more content to leverage this series. So, we're showing creativity in different parts to reach different consumers. And what we do know is that 75% of the campaign is better, but you have more creativity in it. And actually, what we found with Cadbury during that time is that more creative the ad was, the more effective it was, the better it was for brand sales. And during 2017 to 2022, the brand grew by 22%, penetration grew by 7 percentage points, and market share grew by 3 percentage points by using all the different touch points and using these different stories and iterations of the campaign. I hope I captured your attention, and over to you, Marc.
Thanks, Benazir. I'm Marc Guldimann. I'm one of the founders and the CEO at Adelaide Metrics. Adelaide's the first platform that helps advertisers understand the quality of the media they're buying using attention metrics. Now, I think, I got a little teary-eyed at watching that last ad, and I think one of the easiest ways to ruin great creative like that is with bad media decisions. And we've been doing this at Adelaide for 10 years, and I want to give you guys sort of maybe figure out how to set up an alarm system to stop this great heist from happening, give you a couple of tips and how you can look at your media to ensure that great creative like this doesn't go to waste. So there's 3 ways that placements or platforms can help you capture attention. And it's really important to look at these 3 ways differently, even with the metrics that you're using. The first way is adjacent advertising. This is what you see on the web, what you used to see in print. It's ads that sit next to content. And when you want to think about the quality of adjacent placements, you want to use things like coverage and clutter and position, maybe even how long the ad's on screen for. Those will help you understand, am I getting a high-quality adjacent placement, or is it a more low-quality adjacent placement? The second way that placements capture attention is forced. So this is when you have to sit through a 15-second ad, or you have a pop-up on the screen that sits there for 5 seconds. It's in this case, a lot of forced placements are the same. A lot of the attention metrics, or a lot of the metrics, the media quality metrics that are applied to these will tell you more about the context, or they'll tell you a little bit more about the creative. A lot of people think that completion rate is a really good metric to use for forced interruptions. It's actually a bad one. Well, a lot of times when people change the channel, it means that they're paying attention enough to change the channel. Also, what you'll find is that people will avert advertising in forced placements. They'll pick up their phone, they'll look at something else. You're not actually getting as much attention as you think you are with these forced placements. The third type of placement, I think, is where the world is moving. It's something at Adelaide that we call politely interruptive. And this is a placement that will capture attention for an amount of time that the consumer chooses. This is like skippable ads on YouTube, full screen ads in print. And the duration here tells a really interesting story because it's all about the creative. And you can understand maybe not the quality of the creative insofar as how it's going to drive outcomes, but you can figure out like what creative captures the most attention. And in that way, like what creative is the best and what creative will actually, in the long run, drive more attention to your ads, which is what we're all after when we're trying to stop this big attention heist. So there's these three ways of capturing attention. That's the first thing that you need to think about. The second is, what is the context of the attention that you're capturing? There's two ways to think about context. The first way is, what is the broad quality, or how do these contexts apply to all advertisers? And you can see everything from sitcoms through children's TV are capturing different amounts of attention. One of the most surprising ones is sports. A lot of people think that sports are extremely attentive. Depending on the type of sport that people are watching, especially in the States, you'll have, if you're watching football, everybody has their fantasy football team up, and they're trying to do prop bets and trade. And that happens in the commercial breaks. So what we found is that different contexts will drive different types of attention and therefore different types of quality, independent of the type of advertiser. Now, you can take that same contextual learning and apply it to advertisers that are in specific contexts. So if you're making running shoes, that ad will work a lot better inside of a sports context than inside of a comedy context, even though that comedy will typically capture more attention and better attention than sports will. So it's really important when you're thinking about how you're capturing attention through these formats that you unpack them and figure out, is it adjacent, is it a forced interruption, is it a polite interruption, and then think about, okay, what's the context that we're looking for, what's the type of advertising that we're running, and making sure that it's relevant.
So you're going to have to move quickly now because the police are coming. We're running out of time and we have to finish this heist. Everybody, please, can you get your phones out of your pockets, get your cameras on, and take a picture of this quickly before the police come through the door. Print this out, put it on your desks, build a checklist for each of these three areas. Benazir and Marc today have talked to you about how to capture attention through creative, through your platform, and through relevance. If you have creative work, if you have media plans that haven't gone through your lens of attention, send it back and start again because your money will be wasted. It's so important. And for those of you that don't have an attention strategy, think about how you can test the waters. It's one of the reasons we launched Onyx. We know that if you put high quality creative in the right environment with the right context and relevance, it will drive attention. And most importantly, attention will drive business results for you. So, friends, I've seen a lot of nodding, I've seen a lot of smiling today. I implore each and every one of you, please do not go back to your desk tomorrow, Friday, Monday, and do the same thing that you've always done. In a world where we're asked to do more with less, when efficiencies and effectiveness are paramount, know that attention is a solution that will drive results. Now, please, everybody stand up. Up you get. A big round of applause for Marc and Benazir. Thank you very much, everybody.